Hello, viewers. You're watching the Saitapa Sports Zone. Here in the spotlight, we will bring you the most talked about topic. That's the Nyako issue. But before we go further, you can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And here I'm with my guest, Fude. Welcome, Fu. You can introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Setafa. I am Fode Mane, um, commonly known on the social media as Fodefo, because of my involvement in the sport journalism and my um, official Facebook page named Fodefo Journalist. So I go by that name always, but then I am Fode Mane, a native of Basse and a sport journalist who is residing in Basse.
An independent journalist.
Of course.
Fude, as a native of URR, you have a lot of knowledge about this whole issue. I mean, the project, the Nyakwe project. So tell us what you know.
Thank you so much. The Nyakwe project has been a very controversial project since it's been inaugurated. We can go back to the background history of how the project came about. Back in 2023, the Gambia Football Federation announced that it has secured $12 million is funding from the Saudi Arabian Football Federation, and then it also commits to giving a counterpart contribution of $2.6 million, which now makes the amount to $14.6 million. So that $14.6 million was put aside for an ambiguous project, which is as massive as a region getting their first ever sporting facility, most particularly football space. So they have put that funding aside for the Nyako Mini Stadium project. They brought it in 2023 in July when they laid the foundation stone, and it was attended by some regional authorities and with some officials from the GFF, including the president of the GFF, Mr. Lamin Kababayo. So the project commenced few months after, because it was intended immediately after the laying of the foundation stone. The project will begin, and then it will last for 4 months. But for some reason, I think because of the rainy season and other things, the project took some time to begin. And then after rainy season, because they got the space, let's get that clear first. They got the space from farmers, the community,
community.
yes, the farming community, and those that gave their space are farmers, and those space or those land are also used for farming. So when the rainy season started, because laying of the foundations in July, obviously in the Gambia the rainy season begin in May, from late May to getting into June, July, So in the middle of July, obviously we are in the middle of rainy season. So they already started farming. So they allowed them to finish their farming, harvest and everything, and then the project starts. So the project lasted from 2023 to 2026 when the project concluded, and just this month, February, they have called for an inauguration of the project. Even though for many of us, we aren't aware about that inauguration. We have been monitoring the project anyway. Myself, I've been there for some couple of times that I go there and see how far the project gone. And then when the inauguration came, I remember I was here in the Greater Banjul area, and I went back, and all of a sudden a colleague told me that, the Yanko Mini Stadium will be inaugurated just some days time. It's like how us, the sport journalists, are not aware.
Yeah.
So I just tried to reach out to the officials of the Regional Football Association, who are the governing body of football in our region. Ask them why, because they're also the custodians of the project. And ask them why didn't they invite the sport journalists. So, but they apologized and sent an invitation through my WhatsApp. I told a colleague to go and pick it on my own behalf. So at that point in time, even a few days to visit, a day or 2 days to the event, we don't even have a representative to be there for us. But then, as somebody who is very cognizant about the project, very much interested in it, I took time from my working hours and then made it to the project side. Yeah, I've been there, and it has been a very interesting day. You see regional authorities, from the governor's office, from the Pasay Area Council, we are all invited to the event. Made it. Officials from the GFF were there, both the vice president, the first vice president, the president, the first vice president, Pakari Jame, the general secretary, Lamajasi, the communication director with entire team almost,
So everybody was there
everybody
literally.
was there. So there are people that I already know. So
Mhm.
it was just like an event that I'm so much involved in.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were at the inauguration until when it concludes. And then we saw later photos we had released by the GFF, drone pictures and facility pictures, everything. But the community has a voice, and the public also has a voice based on what they have seen. And when the pictures were released, everybody has now their opinion.
Yeah.
That
It
is
was
to
a lot
say,
of drama on social media.
exactly, was this project really worth what has been
14
said?
mil-
14.6
14.6
million.
million, yeah.
Understand? So that question has now been raised. For me as a journalist, a native, I have a responsibility. The responsibility is to not to overlook the call of the community, asking whether 14 million has been spent on that project. My responsibility is to follow to know exactly whether what the community is asking that's worth it. Understand?
So, Fu, let's talk about transparency. Because lately, especially about this Nyako issue, you already said it, they don't invite even a small, even a single sport journalist. And I think that was very wrong, but let's just leave that for another day. Let's talk about transparency. Was there anything transparent in that project? Especially you that we are doing the follow-up initiative of URL. What do you have to say about that? Because the drama on social media, the controversy, everybody is saying there's no transparency. 14.6 million cannot be spent on that project. Maybe the Farafet will up to that extent also. I don't know. So, what is your opinion?
Yeah, for me, my opinion as a journalist, as an independent journalist, I may not conclude to say there is no transparency in the project. Understand? My role, like I was saying, it is for me to establish whether there is transparency or there is no transparency. Understand? But what I can say is that people really much frown at how the project has been carried out. The people of the region, the people of Nyakwe, the people of the entire country. It's not only about UR, it's not only about Basse. You have seen a lot of people who are football conscious, who are sport conscious, coming out to express their scrutiny over the project implementation. So what I can say is that since the project starts, it was a welcoming news for everybody in URR for the fact that we're going to have the first ever sporting facility of that magnitude in our region. Everybody celebrates it. And now everyone was expecting highly that it was going to be a meaningful project, well executed, meet the purpose, then the celebration even gets even bigger. But now unfortunately that turns differently. Now everybody is now, instead of celebrating, we are now frowning at whether 14 million has been spent in that. So that is my responsibility now as a journalist to really more dig in to know whether 14 million has been spent in that thing.
Yes,
And I've so far gone really much well to know whether that is the case. Even though it is tough, it's difficult, dealing with, people that really much also have to justify that 14 million has been spent there. But yeah, we will slowly continue.
After the inauguration, the GFF president Lamin Abajo was on coffee time at West Coast, and we had a lot of things that he said actually about the youths of that community, Nyakwe. Because you already said the farmers were the owner of that land and they give it out to the GFF for that project. And I saw a comment on social media where an individual of Nyakwe said, Nyom, personally, they were taking the grasses, they were plotting the grasses on that project, on that field. So after the comment on West Coast, which Kababa just said, the people of Nyakwe were sabotaging the whole project. How do you feel as a native of CRR?
You are anyway.
URR, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm from CRR, that's why I'm saying CRR.
Not bad. We are neighbors. And
Okay, yeah.
we are sister regions anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I felt disappointed. To be honest, I felt disappointed by the remarks of Lamin Kababajo on the West Coast Radio. I felt so disgraceful, by the whole president, coming out to make such a remark. You know, it cannot be a damage control in that way. Understand? people express their dissatisfaction over the project,
Mhm.
and they are not okay with how the project has been implemented. Some said they've been involved in the grass planting, and we cannot deny the fact
Yeah.
they have been involved. Understand? They know.
Mhm.
So you as the president of the federation that is bringing the project, you should have rather appreciate the good job that they have done, contributed to the implementation of the project in whatever justification you are going to give that 40 million has been spent there. Than you going out to say there are elements of jealousy
Mhm.
or whatsoever you call it,
Yeah.
calling them names and saying they're not happy with that and they've been sabotaging the project. That's a huge disappointment, a very big disappointment from me. Myself personally, if I'm to be asked about my personal opinion about the project, I have it, and I've been saying it. There's nobody who can convince me that $14.6 million has been spent in that project.
In your own personal
In my
view.
own personal view.
So,
But at this point, like I said, me as a journalist, I have a responsibility now
to find out
whether 14.6 million has been spent in that project. And I've been doing that enough. Understand? And hopefully I will get to it. But at this point, I hold that opinion. But I don't want also my opinion to also influence my
others.
work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the electricity saga, I say something like that. So just tell us, what was all that about?
Yes. So, like I said, I've been following the
Project.
development, the project since the start. And like when this whole brouhaha started, the controversy around it, it upon myself, digging deep to know what exactly has been spent in that project. So based on my, I can say also, I don't know whether I will borrow the police, marks that they say, based on my preliminary findings.
Okay.
Yes, because I cannot say I conclude my
Yeah,
findings,
I know.
but based on my preliminary findings, these are some of the things I've already uncovered. That is, one, the way the electricity has been extended to the facility might have not followed the right procedure as NAVIC dictates. Understand? Because when I got the information that it's an individual who was engaged to get them the electricity to the facility and also even facilitated the buying of the meter that they got into the facility. It's like, how right is it? So I said, now it is for me to engage NAVIC to ask whether that is the right procedure.
And you did that?
I did. And they confirmed to me that that is not the right procedure. And as far as they know, they are not aware about when electricity got to that place. Understand? So by far again, somebody has been alleged. That is the person that is been said to have engaged or have been engaged to get electricity to that place.
The person
I have to also hear from him. I went to him and asked.
Is that person from GFF?
No, he's not from GFF.
Okay.
He's a citizen, an ordinary individual. So I reached out to him and asked that this is what I got, and you've been said to be the one that facilitated the extension of electricity to this facility. So I want to know if this is true. He said yes, he was involved, but where he was involved in was more or less getting, meter for the GFF.
It's getting
and
more
that was
complicated.
because based on their demand that they needed urgently. And he knows somebody who was selling a meter. Then he engaged the person and connected them. They got the meter. So I asked him, how much did you sell the meter to GFF? Was it 500? Because we know right now meter is being dropped down to 500 because of the rural electrification project. He said, no. He said the 500 came later. He said, but when this was happening, the transaction was happening, the 500 was in there. So then the meter were 8,500. And I asked him, if meter was 8,500, how did the project buy the meter that you've sent? He said, no, I cannot disclose that. So
There's more into the matter.
There's more into it, understand? So again, a lot of things also came in. Now, what was involved aside from the meter? What was involved in the extension of the electricity from where it is picked to the facility? Talked about the poles, the electric poles, the extension and everything. He provides service advice to them. He provided the measurement and he was paid for it. But aside from that, the installation of the extensions, he was not involved. But he said each pole, about 4 to 5 poles were erected there. But each pole cost around, more than $50,000. But when we again engage experts that know about the area and asked how much an extension of each port could cost. They said it could be 40 to 45.
Really?
Understand? Yes. So these are all findings that we have so far uncovered regarding the project. You go by far, we've engaged Welderman about the perimeter fence. We've engaged evaluation officer, senior government evaluation officer, about how did he know or what did he know about this project? How much did he think the project would cost? But he gave me the most tricky response that I could ever have in that. He said, my response is common sense. Yes, evaluation officer could look at a project and say, okay, by evaluating with all the things that have been put in resources, everything, we could know the project. But he said, by this one, it's common sense. You look at it, you will know it is not worth 14 million.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
a
is
huge
what
money.
happened in terms of the electrification, in terms of the evaluation that we got, in terms of even the welder guy. What he told us is that the iron rod that is used for the perimeter fence is not the exact iron rod that should be used for such perimeter fences. Because we know it is the balls hitting.
Maybe that one is cheaper, or
yes, he
the
said
one they
is
use is cheaper.
Is a very cheaper one. He compared it even to that of Jarasoma. He said the Jarasoma one is much more strong, and even said the name of the Jarasoma one. I think he said is it Yuba? Is it Yuba or Yuba?
Okay.
You know, iron bar that you can even hit it with what it will not break. So, but this one is afraid when the place is overcrowded with fans and they shake it up, it will go down.
And for can you tell us how far with the findings?
Yeah, for my findings, I'm still on it, and I'm taking my time gradually, step by step, to go what needs to be done. Then let's see. Hopefully, we'll be able to exhaust all what is needed to make sure that we bring, facts on the table for everyone to see. One thing I know, we have done enough to engage, the relevant key authorities involved in the project, both at the regional level and at the GFF level. I've reached out to this General Secretary of GFF to talk to me about this event, and it was unfruitful. And I also been told about the project supervisor, Juan Mata Job, reach out to him. He asked that I have to go and talk to the General Secretary. I have to go back to the General Secretary again for more than 2 days after. Then he texted and told me that I need to communicate to the communication director, Babakar Kamara. Went to the communication director again. It took almost a day that I don't hear from him. So, but I hope, we still continue pursuing and see, hopefully, inshallah, they will speak and they will tell us what is involved. But we're doing really much well. Maybe it will take time, but we will come to the facts.
Let's just hope for the best. And Fode, thank you for having you today.
Thank you so much.
And this is all we have for you today on the Spotlight with Fode Okas. And don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. That's the Saitafa Sports Zone. Bye for now.